Thank you for coming, everyone, to our February Sustaina-bite. My name is Calandra Waters-Lake, and I'm the Sustainability Director here at William & Mary. I do hope that you are ready for an awesome guest speaker today and that you have grabbed your lunch to join us. Before we get too far into our program today, I'd like to start off with our land acknowledgement. William & Mary acknowledges the indigenous peoples who are the original inhabitants of the lands our campus is on today. The Cherenhaka Nottoway, Chickahominy, Eastern Chickahominy, Mattaponi, Monacan, Nansemond, Nottoway, Pamunkey, Patawamak, Upper Mattaponi, and Rappahannock tribes, and pay our respect to their tribal members past and present. If you are looking for this land acknowledgement, it can be found at the American Indian Resource Center website. I'd also like to briefly go over what we mean when we say sustainability here at the Sustainability Office at William & Mary. We approach sustainability very broadly. Really the interactions between society and the environment operating in ways that improve the well-being of all. So when we envision a more sustainable world, we envision something that has flourishing environments, economies, individuals, and societies. This also ties directly to the Sustainable Development Goals. This is a great framework if you haven't dove into these before. The website is really user-friendly. These panels all flip over and give you more details, but it's a great example of how interconnected sustainability really is. A couple brief announcements before we get into our main program today. Green fee proposals are being accepted right now. Remember that green fee proposals can be for anything sustainability related: research, pilot projects, operations facilities, curriculum, engagement, and those are due on March 3rd. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions about what you would like to include in a proposal. We also are partnering with the Office of Community Engagement on another event. Their Daily Work of Justice has a focus of climate change and water in Virginia. The first of this two-staged event is on March 1st, and that is an in-person event at the Sadler Center. And the second is March 8th, which is a repeat of the event, but virtual. And this is an opportunity for attendees, faculty, students, staff, community members to connect with those in our local area who have lived experience in climate change and water impacts in Virginia. And the hope is to really build connections within our community around this topic so that you can learn a little bit more about it, but really understand the personal connections of climate change and water within our local community. And also a shout out to the rest of our spring Sustaina-bite schedule. So our March Sustaina-bite will be featuring Caleb Rogers, an alum from William & Mary, who will be talking about the city of Williamsburg when it comes to sustainability, but also really his journey in looking into sustainability and how he's built it into his life and career. And then in April, this will happen during Earth Week. We'll be working with the Office of Community Engagement, and they will come in and talk about advocacy and citizenship and how that ties to sustainability. All right, it's my pleasure to introduce Cassie Cordova today. Cassie is the Environmental Sustainability Coordinator for James City County. She completed her undergraduate studies at the University of Florida and earned a master's in global sustainability from the University of South Florida. She's worked on various projects, including establishing the first small-scale commercial anaerobic biodigester in Florida, a fellowship at the Institute on Sustainability Energy, and a historic preservation project of Egmont Key utilizing LIDAR and GIS. Before joining James City County, she worked at CREST, which is the Center for Responsible Travel in Washington, D.C. And Cassie has a lot of fun things going on. She's done a lot of great work in our area, and I'm really excited to be able to hand this over to her to talk a little bit more about James City County and what they have coming up. Cassie, I hand it to you.
Oh, thank you, Calandra. Thank you for the invite. And that was an interesting land recognition. I've never seen anything like that before. So I definitely want to look more into that and see if we can do that as well. And I'm looking forward to the other Sustaina-bites. I know Caleb, we've worked together a few times. So I want to see, what's new in Williamsburg as well. So today I'm going to focus on a lot of the events and activities that we have going on at James City County that are related to sustainability. That is a large part of what I do here. So I just want to present what we have going on, especially that the students can get involved in, or community members. And then if anybody has any other questions, regarding sustainability in James City County, I'm open to answering those as well at the end. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Are you guys seeing my screen? Okay, I don't see my little green box, but.
We're all good.
All right, so as Calandra mentioned, I am the Environmental Sustainability Coordinator for James City County. That's under our General Services Department. And so a large part of my job is working with our Clean County Commission. So the Clean County Commission has been around since 1979, and we have Peg Borman as our chair, and she's been around since 1979. So she's got a lot of great activities and annual events, and she does a really great job of getting local volunteers. We do a lot of recycling promotion, litter prevention and control, environmental education, and beautification projects. And the commission meetings are open to the public. We are currently hosting those on Zoom the first Thursday of every month between 5:30 and 7 p.m. So we definitely welcome anybody that's on this call today to join and see what we've got going on and get involved in any volunteer opportunities we have. The website is listed there, and the link is open as well. It's right on that website. And then in 2017, the Clean County Commission became an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful. So we are also Keep James City County Beautiful. And so we work, this is kind of our branch that deals with all of our volunteers. So you can sign up to become a Keep James City County Beautiful volunteer. And we have a newsletter that we put out, and that keeps everybody abreast of all the activities. And people can, for people that can't commit to joining the commission itself, this is a good way of keeping up with any activities and events that people choose to volunteer with. And one thing that we focus on a lot is the Keep America published the 2020 litter study. And this was the largest publication that they had undertaken in many, many years. And it was just completed, and they literally drove around the entire country and counted litter, and they found about 50 billion pieces of litter, and that was divided almost evenly along roadways and waterways. So we all know that litter is a problem, and we have quite a few programs to address that. So I'm going to talk about a few of those to begin with. So as part of our Keep America Beautiful affiliation, we perform our annual litter index. And it's kind of hard to see in these photos, but we have a scale of how littered an area appears, being not really littered at all to heavily littered. And we drive around the county, we get a county van, and there was 7 of us this year. So we had the driver, we had the navigator, and then 5 observers. And we drove around and we based it off the watersheds, and each observer gave a score of all the different areas. And then, we calculated and tabulated in lots of different spreadsheets, and we submit this to Keep America Beautiful. But what's great about this is we have a record now of where the litter is. So when people say, hey, our Boy Scout troop wants to do a litter cleanup, or our high school class wants to do a litter cleanup, we can say, great, here's your supplies. And if you don't have a particular area, we can direct you where to go. So we just did that last month. And then, as many of you may know, we have the Great American Cleanup coming up. So Keep America Beautiful has that from March 20th to June 20th of 2022. And we partner with AskHRGreen.org, which is through the HRPDC, which is the Hampton Roads Planning District. So they have chosen March 25th and March 26th as the Hampton Roads dates. And so we direct everybody to that specific website there, the AskHRGreen.org/cleanup. And you sign up through them. And if you want to do something in James City County, then they'll forward it to us and we'll get you all your supplies. And again, we can recommend a location if you're interested. And this year we have a few signups so far, but what we try to focus on in James City County is our, what we call our annual countywide spring cleanup. So that's Peg there in the middle in the green shirt. And this is the 44th annual spring cleanup. So we call April Litter Prevention Month. And so far in the 43 years, they've collected 7 million pounds of trash on the spring cleanups. And so this year it's going to be Saturday, April 9th. And we provide the supplies in advance, the orange bag you see there. We provide safety vests. We actually have, if you're going to do a large cleanup out on a kind of a public area, we can put up the big orange signs, letting the traffic so that it's more safe for everybody. And after you're finished with the cleanup, we can arrange to pick up the bags, or otherwise you can bring them yourself to our Jolly Pond Convenience Center, and it's free to dispose of any litter that day. And also any tires they might find on the side of the road. So it's a tire amnesty day as well. So if you would like to register for that, there's the website there. And I'm sure, I'll provide all these links to Calandra and she can send them out to you as well. But that's our big cleanup for the county. But any cleanup that anyone's interested in doing in the springtime, we just go ahead and ask that you register through Ask HR Green, and then we reach out to you and get everything organized. And this is something that we introduced this year. This is very new. I'm very excited. We have created what's called a Litter League, and we partnered with the Williamsburg Regional Library on this. So we have these supplies, these buckets and grabbers and vests, and you can go ahead and check those out at the library, just as you would a book. You get them for a week, and then you return them to the library. Of course, the bags and the gloves, those are disposable. So when you return to the library, all we ask is that you complete a cleanup sheet so that we can record the data. And this way, we have these supplies year round, and it's really flexible. So if somebody wants to just go do a cleanup in their neighborhood, they can just go grab this from the library, do their cleanup and return it. And that way it's a much more straightforward and efficient way of getting supplies out to everybody at a location that's convenient for everybody. So this just launched back in November, and we've had 12 checkouts so far, but we are anticipating a much bigger increase now that the weather is warming up. And then we also have our AdoptASpot program. So it's kind of similar to the Litter League, except for with the AdoptASpot, you commit to a particular location. So if there's an area, if you're, for example, a church group or a Boy Scout troop, and they have a particular area that they would like to keep clean, they commit to 1 year. And we ask that they do at least 2 cleanups a year, or as needed to keep it litter free. And in return, we give you a sign that we put up, and you get to choose whatever slogan you want to put up there. And recently we've had 2 high schools join. So we had the War Hill High School Environmental Club and the Jamestown High School also, they've joined. So we're definitely looking to expand on this program. We have quite a few of them, but we always have room for more. So if anybody's interested, the way that the high schools are doing is they're going to pass it along to the following class. So I imagine, if somebody in William and Mary wanted to do the same thing, and if you wanted to do the sustainability department and then pass it on to the next year. That'd be something we could work through. All right, so that was all of our litter cleanup opportunities. And then last year, we had a co-chair to the Clean County Commission, Emma, and she put together the Stewardship Hour, and she did 10 different stewardship hours. Some examples here: litter, compost, reducing plastic. She also did like stormwater and sustainable gardening, a bunch of great topics. So those are all available on the county's website and also on YouTube. So definitely recommend checking those out. And I believe, I want to say Caleb might have been a guest on one of those as well. And then this is an open volunteer opportunity we have. And what's great about this one is it's on Give Pulse, which I think, Calandra, you were the one who recommended I use that. And so I know that we get a lot of our William and Mary volunteers through Give Pulse. So it's currently on there. Last year, the pictures you're seeing here, we had 2 planting events. We had one in the fall and one in the spring. And we're anticipating having another spring planting this year. But for an ongoing opportunity, you can clean up, you can go on Give Pulse and sign up. And there's a little video that Emma made that shows what weeds and what care can be done to the garden, and you can go out and get a couple hours in. Again, obviously with it being winter, this hasn't been too active, but now that we're going to be planning a new spring planting event, and then the ongoing weeding for the spring and the summer. So anybody that's a gardener, that's something you might be interested in. And we have quite a few events coming up. So this is kind of our event season, spring and summer. So the first event will be what's now our second annual Arbor and Earth Day event. So last year we started this event where we planted a tree out at the Williams Botanical Garden. And this year we're going to actually plant 2 trees, because in the last year, the Williamsburg Botanical Garden has become officially recognized as the Williamsburg Botanical Garden and Freedom Park Arboretum. So they've, with the work that they've done, they've been recognized, and both sections are part of the Arboretum. So we're going to plant a tree at both sections, both the Williamsburg Botanical Garden and the Free Black Settlement. So this year, the event will be at the Free Black Settlement, and we'll have a couple of speakers, and we'll plant the trees. And this also launches their Plant with a Purpose sale. So you can see that bottom left picture. There's the plants that they sell, native plants mostly, but it's a way to fundraise for the garden as well. So a lot of people look forward to that. And there's Miss Peg again. And then this is a very exciting new event that we are launching this year. We're calling it the Repair Fairs. You may have heard of it as a Fix It Fair as well. These kind of started out in the West Coast, and Chesapeake and Suffolk joined together last year to do one. And so we heard about the idea and thought it'd be a great idea. And it has gotten quite a lot of attention. People are very excited about the Repair Fair. So currently we have the we just set the location. It's going to be at War Hill High School. It's going to be Saturday, May 14th. We haven't nailed down the time yet, but we are looking for fixers and general volunteers to help organize that day. So I know if you have any skills, we're looking for a variety of different skills: bike repair, small appliances, sewing, jewelry. We're leaving it open. So if anybody has a unique skill, we're open to that as well. And then depending on what fixers we get, we'll order the correct supplies. And this is really just to kind of educate about a lot of times we focus on recycling, but I made this little graphic here that kind of says that, recycling is really your last resort. First we kind of want to rethink, purchase different materials, and then try to reduce what we use, reuse it, repair it if we can, and then recycle it at the end. So this is a way of preventing it from going to the landfill, and kind of educate about kind of the throwaway culture that we've become. So we're very excited about that event. And speaking of recycling, we have a new glass-only recycling program. So in James City County, we offer curbside recycling to our residents. It is through a fee. And then we have free recycling drop off at our 3 convenience centers. And at our convenience centers, the recycling is separated. So we separate our cardboard. And then previously we had our glass and our plastic in one container, and then we have our paper in another container. But we've gone ahead and formed a partnership with Owens, Illinois. And Owens, Illinois donated these purple bins to us. So we have the purple bins at the different convenience centers, and we ask that the residents separate their glass out as well. And the biggest question we get with this program is why? Why are we separating out the glass? Because, you know, in curbside, everything goes together. But if you have a look at the pictures on the top, if you look at the left picture, that's what glass looks like when it comes out of basically our purple bin, when it's separated glass only. And if you look at the right picture, where you can really, if I didn't tell you that was supposed to be glass, I don't know that you would know that that's glass. And that's what comes out of the MRF. So the MRF is the Materials Recovery Facility. That's where all of the curbside or commingled recycling goes. And it goes there, and it goes through several different processes to separate the commingled into the individual commodities. And unfortunately, through that process, glass isn't really the winner. Commingled kind of came out in the late 1990s, and what it did was it made it a lot easier, and it made it recycling, the volume increase exponentially, which was great for certain commodities. But with glass, the way the systems work, there's different conveyor systems and magnets and optical sorters, but glass kind of comes out at the bottom. And unfortunately, that process means it gets pretty heavily contaminated. So you might get about 80% glass and 20% contaminant, or maybe even 70-30. And so the way recycling works is that commodity then needs to be sold on to a manufacturer for them to purchase it and then be able to use it to create something new. You know, recycling is the closed loop system. However, the glass that comes out of the MRF a lot of times is not desirable to glass manufacturers, particularly container glass. So your bottles and your jars, they can't take that and create a new glass bottle. So a lot of times what happens is that glass, that picture on the right, that's going to be used to create fiberglass, or it may actually be put as alternate daily cover in a landfill, which is something that's federally required for landfills, to put, layers of some material other than earth and garbage to keep everything kind of contained. So it is in a sense reused, but it's not recycled. So with our glass only recycling program, we take our bottles directly to Owens, Illinois in Toano, a local industry that's been here, 40 something years. And they're able to take those glass materials and turn it to a new glass container in less than 30 days. So, as sustainability students or professionals, we know that's kind of the goal, is to have the closed loop system to truly be able to reuse it. And the benefits of this is also that we're working with a local business. So that's going to have environmental benefits, and that the emissions are going to be lower, but also, with sustainability, I liked your guys' graphic with the concentric circles inside, but this kind of hits all three parts. We're working with the environment because the glass is truly being recycled. With every recycled glass, you're going to have reduced raw materials, reduced energy. But then we're also working with the economy, and that we're working with a local business. And then the third bit, the people or the society. So in a token of appreciation, Owens, Illinois will make a financial contribution to the United Way of the Virginia Peninsula. So this program just launched back in November, and let's see, I have my spreadsheet. We are seeing a large increase every month. The first 3 months, we pretty much doubled what we had the previous month. So we are currently at, I want to say 44,000 pounds of glass that we've recycled. Like I said, that's going to go into directly creating new glass containers. So the first quarter of the program, the Owens, Illinois donated $1,020 to the United Way, and those contributions will continue throughout the program. So we think this is a really great program, and that it really, ticks all 3 boxes for the sustainability. And a couple of other programs we have our Good Neighbor Grant. Every fall, we open up this grant for different community organizations, a lot of neighborhood associations. They can apply for a grant to do an environmental sustainable landscape beautification project. So for example, planting a pollinator garden or something like that. And then it's a matching grant. So they have to match with in-kind donations as well. And then we have the Virginia Peninsula Clean Business Forum Award. So this is something we co-sponsor with York, Newport News, and Hampton. And we're always on the lookout for a local business that's doing something environmentally friendly. We've just reopened the awards actually this quarter, and we're looking for organizations or businesses that have done sustainable reaction to COVID, if they've implemented any best practices as a COVID consequence. So we're always looking. If anybody has any recommendations, you can nominate them or they can nominate themselves. And then we have our annual Litter and Recycling Expo. So this is typically in November. We try to put it near America Recycles Day. So we just had this last November, and we had a few students from William and Mary volunteer. And this is an event where we try to collect kind of harder to recycle things. So we do a tire amnesty. We put our glass bin out there. We did soft plastic, and then we did some different donation collections. So we had the Habitat for Humanity Restore to collect any furniture and building supplies. And then we worked with a nonprofit called Souls for Souls, and they collect mostly shoes, but also clothes. And what's great about that nonprofit is they do provide they collect these materials, and they give to the needy, especially for disaster relief, but then they also sell these materials to small entrepreneurs in developing countries that can then resell them, and they can establish a business. So this gives them a means of opportunity to produce their own money and to have their own business. So we worked with them last year. It was a very successful event. So that we'll be doing that again. So that's just kind of a highlight of a lot of our events. We have a lot going on, and so we're always looking for volunteers. And I didn't put the slide on here, but we do have a newsletter for anybody that would like to stay connected. I can share that link as well. But that's pretty much a summary of all of our events. And I'm going to open it up for any questions about any of those events. But then if anybody has any general questions about sustainability in James City County, I'm happy to answer those as well. Oh, I see the link for the pollinator garden.
Thanks, Cassie. I have a question. Are there particular volunteer opportunities that you're really hoping to recruit people for, or is this sort of across the board? Are there any that you want to highlight that you think would be really useful for you all to let us know that you could use some more help in that area?
I would definitely say the repair fair. So the repair fair, this is the first time we're doing it, and it's going to be, I feel, extremely planning intensive, and we are open to ideas on how to do it. Like, we've pretty much just said that we're going to do it, and we've picked a location and a time, but we need all the help we can get with that, because you know, we're going into March already, so we've got pretty much 2.5 months to plan this, and I think it's gonna involve a lot of planning and day of volunteers as well, to organize the fixers and the residents that want to get everything fixed. And there's going to be a lot of you know, coordinating of times and the materials and the picking up and the dropping off. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity in the repair fair.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, we have a question. Feel free to unmute. There you go.
Hi, Cassie. Are there any places to recycle unwearable like clothes?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering whether there are any places to recycle like textiles, such as unwearable like clothes.
Unwearable, so you mean not suitable for donation?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. We don't have anybody that we're working with currently, but this is something that's been brought to my attention before, and I'm definitely looking at a few different options. So I will definitely have some, for sure, by next, for our next recycling expo, we want to have something, but hopefully before then we can get something, because textile waste is quite a large contributor to the landfill. So we want to find something local, hopefully.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, because I have some like pillows or like unwearable clothes or other things that, yeah, I don't want to just throw them away. You're great. Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have other questions from the group? Looks like Lindsay also had a comment in the box that maybe there's some drop boxes at school. I don't know if that's for unwearable textiles or not, but maybe worth looking into. We have another question. What is the definition of a soft plastic?
Okay, let me see if I can, I have another presentation right after this, and I have a slide.
Yes.
And pull that up. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. It's going to make me go through every slide. But here is our, can you still see my screen?
We can. It might be a little small for folks, but we can still see it. There we go. No. Can everybody, can everyone see okay? Let Cassie know what you're seeing on your end. That's good.
So for our soft plastic recycling, we partner with the Lions Club, and they do 2 soft plastic recycling drives per month, the second Tuesday of the month and the 4th Wednesday of the month. And the schedule is available online. But these graphics kind of show what is and what isn't acceptable. But mostly it's going to be any sort of plastic wrap or bag that things are packaged in. But not any kind of shiny wrappers. So like your candy bar wrappers and chip bags. And then the water bottles they have as listed as not acceptable, but that's because those are, you know, recyclable regularly. And then I know, I'm from Florida, and in Florida, our soft plastic collection, we also accepted the clamshell containers and the styrofoam. So I think that they highlight that because some soft plastic collections accept that. But what happens with this soft plastic is it's collected and it's given to a company called Trex, and they use the material to create outdoor furniture and decking. And if you you can sign up to do a community drive where if you can collect 500 pounds in a 6-month period, they will give you a bench made out of those materials. So I know we've gotten a few benches, but if William and Mary wanted to do their own drive as well, you can get a bench.
Very cool. Thank you. Any other questions from the group? What about paper labels on the shipping envelopes?
So can you elaborate on what you mean by a paper label on a shipping envelope? Because I know different envelopes now. I know they're trying to make a lot of the envelopes where the actual whole envelope, like the padded ones, are filled with paper instead of bubbles. So I think generally you just follow what's on the envelope. If it's recyclable, it'll say if it is. I know, actually just had the same question earlier today. Somebody asked me, you know, some envelopes are an envelope, but then there's like a clear window that's made out of plastic. And I know they used to say to pop that out. You know, that was kind of a big campaign many years ago, but I have not seen or heard anything of that in quite a few years. So I imagine that the technology and the sorting, they're able to get that out now, because I've never seen them say that you have to remove that plastic anymore. But I will say in general, paper is, if you're going to recycle anything, it should be paper and aluminum. Those are the two things that they have high market value. They're high in demand. The technology, it's able to sort it out effectively, and they are incredibly energy saving. The amount of energy, obviously the amount of trees that are saved from recycling the paper, and the amount of energy for both paper and aluminum to extract the aluminum out of the earth is quite energy intensive. So a fun fact that 75% of all aluminum that's ever been used is still in existence being used. So our recycling rate of aluminum, which is pretty impressive if you consider how long aluminum's been used. If you want to compare that to plastic, it's 9% of plastic, which is even less impressive considering plastic's been used for a shorter period of time, where we've had recycling already established, but we're just not really able to capture the plastics. Have you used of TerraCycle boxes? I've heard of them, but I off the top of my head, I can't remember what they are. Let me see.
I want to say there's, I could be wrong on this, but I want to say they're similar to the Trex idea that you were just talking about, but I think you pay for TerraCycle box that collect plastics, and then you can send it back for them to be recycled.
Yes,
cover
okay.
That gap that a lot of local municipalities and MRFs can't always do.
Yes, yeah. So we are actually looking at partnering with a company called Replenish with a Y instead of an I. And they do something very similar to this, but it's free. So they are kind of Uber of recycling, if you will. So they're looking at very localized, very small scale. Now they're trying to work with us with our convenience centers, but they also, anybody can join, and you can become a collection center of your neighborhood. So if you want to, if you're dorm, if you want to say, I want to collect, and you can choose what commodity you want to collect. But if you want to say that you want to be the plastic, recycler of William and Mary, they actually provide you with the equipment, the bags. They use these kind of larger bags, and then they collect it from you. So that's, I would say, a similar option that has no cost.
And what is the name of that again?
It's called Replenish. Let's say.
Is it spelled with a Y?
A Y.
Yeah, because I'm just doing the same thing Lindsay's doing.
Yeah, I'm Googling it. They just reached out. They reached out to Owens, Illinois, and they want to work with us. It's an app. And they're kind of, the way their model is that they get people to check in when they're recycling, or certain things, and then they send promotions. So for example, you know, we would put a QR code on our purple bins, and then anybody that goes and recycles their glass could scan the QR code and say, and it's also a way of having more transparency, because then the app kind of tracks where the glass goes and lets everybody know how it's all happening. And then they make their money by, you know, targeting you with, they say, oh, there's a promotion for Tostitos salsa if you buy today. So it's kind of, so we don't pay anything and you don't pay anything, but you know, what's the expression? If you don't pay for something, you're the product. So they're gonna give you some.
Way better than $500 for a box. I'm in the wellness center, and so thinking about, like, Paracycle has one specifically for like medical waste and like rubber gloves, and I think that would be such a nice fit here. And then it was Trex. Where you donate the bags and you get benches and things? Is that what it was? The Trex program?
Trex. So there's the Trex, and then if you go on their website, there's, I think it's called like a community, I don't know if it's drive or challenge or something, but any organization, I believe, can sign up. And then you just have to collect 500 pounds within a 6-month period. And just to kind of make that relative, for our Expo that we did, our Expo was 4 hours long, and we had the Lions Club, instead of having one of their, the fourth Wednesday, they swapped it out for that Saturday, and we collected, I want to say, like 350 pounds in just a few hours. So it's definitely something that's very doable. And then you get a bench, and you can, put it on campus or donate it to a school. I think they mostly donate theirs to schools.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we have a wellness outdoor space that just sounds so nice to launch during Earth Day, Calandra. But
yeah,
thanks for that.
They're a really great company. I've had quite a bit of communication with them, and they'll send out, they'll actually send you containers to collect the soft plastic. Now they're not really hard. They're not sturdy enough to sit outside, but like I have one here in our office in the kitchen, it's collecting. And then we can weigh that, and it's all on the honor system. So you just say how much you collected, and then they'll give you a bench. Posters and pens and all that stuff.
Let's see, we've got one from Jen Williams. Can you talk about how your office gets word out to community members about services and events, considering the wide range of communications that are available?
So we have a couple of different avenues. So I do the social media for general services. So I try to post at least 3 posts a week, if not more. So we just do Facebook and Twitter. We don't have an Instagram yet, but we're working on it. And of course, everybody wants that TikTok now. So we'll see. It's hard. I don't know if we'll get TikTok, and I don't know that I want to get TikTok, but we might get TikTok. But we have our website, and then that newsletter I was talking about, that's something new that we just started this quarter, because we do tend to have a lot of events, and that way we can talk about them. That's going to be quarterly. And so we can say what's coming up, and then we can highlight what we accomplished the previous quarter. And we have an email list that so prior to the newsletter, we would send out regular emails about any of our events. We do use Give Pulse, and we are affiliated with William and Mary on that. So I get notifications of all your guys' events. And if I put anything on there, I assume that means that they all get notifications as well. Other than that, we do get a lot of interests. A lot of, people just reach out, and we're always open to giving presentations, whether they be about a topic like recycling or a presentation like this, because a lot of different communities, we have a lot of residents that want to get involved. And so I just go and I tell everybody what we're doing, and people sign up.
Cassie, we have another question on composting, and if James City County has any composting resources available.
Currently, we do not. However, this is something I am actually very interested in, but I'm actually interested in a biodigester, not so much a compost. So I don't know how familiar everybody is with biodigesters, and I could pull up another PowerPoint, but I won't. So biodigesters, they are like composts in that you can add any organic material. However, it goes into a closed system where you have microorganisms that decompose the organic material, and then they release methane gas, which you capture, and then you can burn cleanly. A lot of times we think of methane gas, we always hear, oh, that's a more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, but which is true, but that's when it's released freely into the atmosphere. When you capture methane and you burn it, it actually is clean burning. You can burn it inside with no toxic fumes or anything. And then the other byproduct of this is a liquid fertilizer that's going to be extremely nitrogen rich and organic, in the sense that, obviously it's made from organic materials, but also it's not synthetic. So I would love to build as many biodigesters as possible. The thing about biodigesters is the microorganisms that feed on the organic material. They live at a certain temperature, and that temperature is about the same temperature as humans. So you have to keep your biodigester kind of fairly hot. So, winter isn't the time to build a biodigester, but now is the time to build a biodigester. If I have the time, I'd love to get something up and running. And if we do, we'll definitely put that out as a volunteer opportunity and get some methane and some liquid fertilizer and introduce everybody to biodigesters.
Cassie, I had one more question, and you kind of touched on this a minute ago, but we've got obviously community members that live in James City County on this call that are interested in what you're doing, but also, a lot of these folks and others, they're faculty, they're students, they're staff. And so when it comes to what's taking place at William & Mary, maybe in classrooms or in research projects, or students that, or faculty and staff that want to get engaged with you all, is the best way to do that to reach out to you directly? Are you, what kinds of things are you interested in partnering on or participating with, or those sorts of things, keeping in mind that we're a higher education institution?
Yeah, I don't know if did I put the last screen up here? I'll share my email address here. And then there's also a generic email address that's just sustainabilitycoordinator@jamescitycounty.gov, jamescitycountyva.gov. So that's always a great way to reach out. But I would say that the good part about this role is that it's very flexible. This role was actually vacant for about 1.5 years before I filled it, which means that I've had a lot of opportunity to kind of come up with new ideas. So if somebody had, a great idea for a project and they wanted to partner with William & Mary, we always try to, work with Williamsburg and William & Mary. So, I would say if you have any ideas, also come to the Clean County Commission meeting. That's kind of a lot of times when I encourage people when they're interested or they have an idea, come and present that, because we have grant money that we often, we have quite a bit of grant money that we can use to implement a new project. So that's kind of the first and easiest way to get PEG on board, and then we can we can move from there.
Great, thank you. We have just a couple of minutes remaining. Are there any final questions from the group? So Cassie, you already mentioned that we'll be following up with the folks who registered. We'll have a link to this presentation once it's online, but any resources that Cassie wants to provide, we'll be sending out to the group. So additional links, I dropped a couple random ones in the chat, but I'm sure there are others as well. And hopefully everyone will be keeping an eye out for the events that are coming. I'm really excited about the repair fair. That sounds like an awesome initiative, and hopefully we get a lot of participation in that as well. And so Cassie, thanks for joining us. This was really informative. We are really grateful that you were able to come and do this. And I encourage folks to reach out to Cassie if they have follow-up questions or continue to go through the pathways that she just described to get active in the James City County scene.
Yeah, I will say we do keep our website pretty updated. So everything that I talked about today pretty much is on the website and has a page for more information.
Great. All right, well, thank you very much, Cassie, and I hope everyone enjoyed coming today, and we will see you at the next Sustaina-bite.